Audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. Audio on demand from Vision Christian Media.
History Makers with Matt Prater.
Coming off of drugs, you're going to have emotional problems, but I kept chasing after God.
And he's using this vehicle to bring people out of that dark into the light.
And I went forward and I knelt at the front, and it was a radical conversion experience.
And that's where the big change happened, and that's where we decided we're going to use our music for God, we're going to change our songs.
When I was about 25-year-old, I was busted and into jail, and it was there that I came to the Lord.
History Makers with Matt Prater.
Hi, and welcome to History Makers. I'm Matt Prater. Today we're chatting with Pastor Kiran Skariah, who is an online pastor who does a lot of ministry online. Incredible testimony. We're going to hear a bit of his story today. Welcome along, mate. Tell us where you were born and raised.
Hey, Matt. My name is Kiran, like you said. I was born here in Sydney. I was raised here as well, southwest Sydney to be more specific.
Okay, and you've got an Indian background. Whereabouts was your family from originally?
Yeah, my family were from South India, so a place called Kerala.
Mm-hmm.
And, they moved here, as in my parents moved here a good 30-odd years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is where we've been.
Very cool. And tell us a bit about your upbringing. Did you have a religious upbringing?
Yep. So my family have grown up, in the church. My parents already were practicing believers. We came here, we joined a church. We've been here since. And in that journey, I also, grew up knowing a lot of the faith pieces and believing that. But it was only kind of later on in high school when I started to really take my faith seriously and really make it my own.
And tell us a bit about your conversion experience. Was it like at a youth group event or a youth camp, or how did it all happen?
Yeah, well, funnily enough, for me, the first time I made a commitment was sitting with my mum, as a young child. But even then, like I said, I would say, yes, I'm a Christian. If you had asked me then, I would have said absolutely. But it was only in later high school where I started to really take things seriously. And one of the reasons why is because, funnily enough, I started looking at other people around me and going, well, how come there are so many people that are being hypocritical with their faith? How come there are so many people that are saying one thing and are living a different life? And I was getting upset with these, quote, other Christians. And then it was one of those log in your own eye kind of moments for me where I stopped and went, wait, hold on, I'm doing the same thing. Maybe not outwardly, but I've been saying I'm a Christian because I was raised that way, but am I really living it? Am I really putting this into practice? Is it changing every aspect of my life? And so I made a decision then and there to go, okay, well, if that's the case, then I'm either all in or I'm all out, and I need to make a decision. And I decided to step in. And from there, it's just been a journey of serving God with everything that I've got and listening to his call and just being obedient to that.
And tell us a bit about your early career. Like, what did you do after school?
Yeah, so I finished school, ended up going to Bible college. So I actually got into the business degree that I was going to do. But I knew that God had called me at that point to be in full-time youth ministry. I knew that he had made that clear to me. And so I made the decision to not do the business degree, but instead to go to Bible college, where I started studying my Bachelor of Ministry, which I eventually finished my Bachelor of Ministry, did further studies, got accredited, became an ordained reverend, all of those pieces, and then started working at Parkside Church in southwest Sydney, where I started as a 1-2 day a week youth pastor. Eventually I was on staff there full-time as associate pastor, looking after the youth ministry as well as a few other pieces.
You've got an incredible platform now with your ministry. For those who don't know how it all works, how did this all begin, this gaming ministry that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for me, my heart has always been youth ministry and young people and connecting with the next generation. And so for me, with that youth pastor's hat on, while I was still working at my local church, I started noticing this shift in culture, shift in trend, where more and more young people that we were ministering to were spending time in the digital spaces. And that was their natural mode. And so I thought to myself, well, you know what? I've grown up and, always having a PlayStation at home, and, being a gamer was just a bit of a downtime thing for me. I never really took it seriously. But then I thought, well, I wonder if there's a way to reach people for the gospel and share faith and really build community and spread the gospel in these spaces. And so I started experimenting and just trying a few things out by myself and just going, okay, I just wonder, can we change lives and meet people where they're at today? And from there, it's just been this whirlwind where God has just been opening more and more doors, and we've been reaching and connecting with more and more people. So it really came from a sense of looking at modern day culture and going, how do we make sure that the gospel is reaching everywhere, even the places that we can't physically see, but are still very much functioning?
Now, I know that one of the best ways that you evangelize is through a game called Fortnite. Now, some people might know what that is. My son plays it, and I've told him all about you, and he's like, "Oh, cool, Dad, you're interviewing that guy. Oh, that's awesome." So I'm kind of really, getting some cred from doing this interview just quietly. For those who don't know about Fortnite and how that all works, explain to people, how does this work, mate?
Yeah, well, that's actually a bit of a misconception, to be honest with you. We don't actually evangelize through Fortnite in the same way that, a youth group that is playing a game of soccer as one of the activities in the youth group isn't necessarily evangelizing during the game of soccer. It's one of the activities they do, and Fortnite is one of the games that we play, along with a variety of other things. But what we do is we're very intentional to make sure that there is a time in every week where what we call real talk, where we stop, we say no gameplay, put the controllers down, whatever it is, and we're just going to open up God's word. We're just going to preach, and we're going to teach, and we'll get guest speakers in, different pastors from different places, and let's just do this together. So the role that Fortnite plays and other games play is very similar to that of a youth group, where at one point in time we might just be doing something like that. It is a bit of fun, brings in a new audience, all that kind of stuff. But at a heart level, we're making sure that surrounded by all of that, we've got prayer teams that are working and praying for people as they need to. We have weekly sermons going on. We've got all these different elements from worship to discipleship and all these things that we're looking into to go, okay, how do we do that and connect with people where they are and, see what the best way is to reach people in that space. So you obviously love video games. You're calling this a ministry, but really, I mean, how many hours a day do you play video games, really, when it comes down to it? Literally, the only time that I'm playing is while I'm live. Okay. I just straight out don't have the time. When leading a ministry with this many thousands of people, the pastoral care needs are crazy. Like there are lots of things coming through every single day from people saying, look, I'm going through a divorce right now. I need some care in that. I'm struggling with depression and all kinds of different things. It's definitely not just young people that we connect with. I myself am, in my late 20s, almost 30. I'm not the youngest of people, and yet I would still fit that demographic. And there are people that are in their 50s and 60s that are regular members of our community. So with that comes, as with any church, an absolute mountain of need and care. And so that's where a lot of that time goes to in really trying to lead this and make this ministry sustainable long-term to reach more and more people with the gospel. And tell us how many people are connected to you online now. I mean, it's incredible the reach that you have. Yeah, well, I mean, this started about 3 years ago, a bit more than 3 years ago now, but this started with me just sitting on my bed with a camera with no one there, just trying to make conversation and share the gospel just about 3 years ago. And now, fast forward, we've reached over 100,000 people around the planet in this community. And the praise points that we have heard from that are astounding. Like the amount of people that have told us, you've met us where we are. Like you didn't expect us to come to you, but you've met us where we are. And that was something that really shook me. The first time I heard that, again, I was working at my local church at the time. And I remember that moment of just thinking, wow, this person just told me that 6 years prior, they had given up on their church and they weren't going anymore. And all of a sudden we met them where they were. And now they're telling me that they're willing to visit their church once more and give it another try. And I'm like, wow, that is powerful. That's so cool, mate. And I know that you've had incredible media coverage. You've been on ABC Radio and Radio National, and Eternity News has done an article on you. I mean, you've got lots of press on your website. It's been great to see how you've been getting all this promotion. One of the stories I read from Eternity magazine, when they published an article about you, they mentioned that there was a young boy from Indonesia
who had never, ever met a Christian before, and he showed up and he saw that your name was PastorSKAR, and he said, "What's a pastor?" And you were able to have a conversation with him because he was a Muslim. Tell us a bit about how that relationship developed.
Yeah. Again, this is one of the many just organic relationships that we build, because we get a chance to just talk to people and meet them where they're at. And people don't have a reputation associated with them, because everyone can be whatever screen name they want with full anonymity. So when this person came in, they were able to, without fear of judgment, just be like, "Hey, what's a pastor? Like, I don't know what that word is." And we're able to say, "Well, actually, let me tell you what a pastor is." And we did. And that person is still a member of our community to this day, multiple years later. And it's awesome. Like, they've had experiences, like we've had experiences where a variety of people from a variety of cultures and backgrounds are asking genuine faith questions. And, we'll occasionally pop in and be like, "Hey, so this just happened in my family. Do you mind just praying for me?" Because they know that we're a faith community. They know that, we are people that will pray. And even though they might not always understand everything that we're doing, more and more people are open to learn and to just be present, because it's accessible and it's free and it's available and it's present where they are. And also a whole lot of fun in the process.
And so tell us, how are you funded to do all this?
That's the part that we're kind of trying to figure out, to be honest with you. The way that we are currently funded is just from close friends, family, people that have gotten on board with the vision and said, "You know what, this ministry matters and we want it to continue for the long term." So right now there are 4 churches that have also added us to their mission budget, if you will, and they've said, "Hey, we want to commit to supporting this ministry." But we're not even close to where we need to be in that regard. So, myself and our team are working hard to really get this to a point where, like I said, it can be done sustainably. Right now, for the most part, this ministry operates because I have the time, because my wife is working diligently in her job, and she's kind of the solo income of our family unit. And so, we recognized that when we made this faith step to be obedient and follow God's call into this space. But that's one of those things that longer term, we want to get this to a point where this ministry is sustainable and we can do that. And I think that will come down to different Christians, different people with a love for the Lord saying, "You know what, even if I can't be in that space, I'm glad you guys are in that space," and we want to keep that going. And so, we are always looking for people to partner with us financially and help us get to the next stage of where we need to be as an organization.
Well, mate, I just love the fact that you are reaching gamers because, like I said, my son is into Fortnite and he's into Minecraft and he's into all those games with his mates and he'll sit down and watch YouTube videos of, what's that guy? Is it Diamond Minecart? Have you heard of that guy?
Not personally.
Yep. So I think his name's Diamond Minecart. He's some guy who's got millions, gazillions of followers around the world, and he just watches him play video games and crack jokes and I think, oh my goodness, how could you sit down and watch someone playing a video game and find it interesting? But he loves it. So you're basically doing that, but obviously it's a clean version of what you do, and you're building a community through your social media accounts. And so for me, I'm into, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and a bit of TikTok. I've never tried Twitch, but this is one of the areas that you're really connecting. Tell us about what Twitch is.
Yeah, so Twitch is the largest live streaming platform in the world that is designed primarily for gamers, so people that play video games. Although now Twitch has expanded into much more than that. It's actually owned by Amazon, and it's been around for a good long while. It is the industry leader in that space, which is the reason why that's where I chose to go live, because it had the highest viewership and most people in this demographic engaging with that, and so that's where we chose to be. But essentially, for those that have never heard of it or how it works, if you imagine a YouTube video, it's the YouTube video that talks back. So rather than us pre-recording a video and uploading it, we go live, and then people can type and chat, and I'll see those messages in real time and be able to respond to them. So they'll be able to see me and hear me and the room that I'm in and all that kind of stuff. I won't be able to see anyone other than whatever screen name they choose to make, and that's it, which really allows us to facilitate conversation, because like I said earlier, people can just get deep and ask some of those hard-hitting questions that they might feel a little uncomfortable to ask in a in-person context.
Well, it is so good to hear that you are reaching the next generation and reaching gamers all over the world. And out of your office in Sydney, it's amazing how technology has advanced where you can be a missionary reaching people all over. I pray that the Lord will bless you and that you'll have much success reaching the next generation, because we need guys like you who are thinking outside the box in the way that they're reaching out to people. If people want to find out more, what's the best website for them to go to?
If they were to go just to PastorSKAR.com, PastorSKAR, PastorSKAR.com. There are some links there. Of course, people can always get in contact with myself or our team, send me an email or whatever that might look like. We are a registered not-for-profit with the ACNC. We've got a board of pastors and leaders from around Australia that oversee this to make sure that, it's safe, and we've got a safe ministry team. Like, there's a lot of accountability things in place because we really want to do this with excellence and do this in a way that is safe for all people. So anyone that's willing to get on board with us and either volunteer some time or some finance or whatever would really, really mean the world to us and help us continue to reach this huge, huge people group.
Well, mate, it's so good to hear your story today, Pastor Skar. I reckon you're a history maker. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, mate.
If you'd like to hear this conversation again, listen online anytime at historymakersradio.com. There you'll also find links to all of our social media channels, and you can subscribe to our iTunes podcast. History Makers is a faith-based ministry, and we want to thank everyone for their generous support. If you've got a suggestion of anyone we should interview, send us an email, info@historymakersradio.com. God bless. I'm Matt Prater, and my challenge to you now is to go and make history.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au. Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.